One.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is High Point Mayor Pro Tem Michael Holmes calling to order this manager's briefing. With me in chambers today, we have council members McKeever, Harmon, Cook, and Andrew on the way. Council members Moore, Peters, and Johnson. Our mayor is away on official business. The first item up today, item 2024-296, we have a fire department overview, and we have interim fire chief Brian Evans presenting.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, thank you all. It's an honor to be here to present to you all a fire department overview for 2024. It gives me the honor to do this, and I think I have 3 hours and 20 minutes to get through 2 slides, so I promise it won't be that long. So first and foremost, High Point Fire Department, we're operating locally, but we're recently recognized, and I get more into details in that. About in year 2015, 2016, High Point Fire Department was really blessed because we received both an ISO Class 1 and we became internationally accredited. During that time, we were one of 124 fire departments across the nation who received that distinction. We're still going through that process right now. This process happens every 5 years. So our next rating for ISO and accreditation would be in 2026. So we're proud to have that accomplishment. And one thing about ISO I can say is that does help when you're out there, businesses are coming in, that insurance rating, it does lower the insurance rating. So we're very proud of that. Yes, fire department is in our name, but we're actually more than a fire department. We are truly an all hazards organization. And what I mean by that is we're all hazmat technician certified. We respond to dive rescue, water rescue incidents, also technical rescue incidents. Technical rescue incidents, those are the ones where confined space, trench collapse, high angle rescue that you'll see here in this presentation as well. We have a bike team that we're very proud of. We received a grant for that bike team from Smart Choice about 2018, 2019 to formulate a bike team. So those members, they probably see them out doing furniture markets, parades, go far races, a lot of the events that the city are hosting now. One thing I'd like to really highlight is our dive team. Currently in the state of North Carolina, there are only 2 certified dive teams in the state, public safety divers. Proud to say High Point Fire is one of those. The second is City of Charlotte. So only 2 dive teams in the state of North Carolina. And we respond all across this area. You've probably seen some of the news as far as Blues Creek. We recently participated in searching for a body in Winston-Salem with FBI, SBI, ATF. But unfortunately, that individual who is missing is still have not been found as of today. What you see next is drone first responder. That is new technology that's out there today. Drone First Respond is a program that I got to participate in out in the state of California with Chula Vista, California. So what technology is doing now with drones is they're autonomously dispatched with a 911 call. What they did is place those on fire stations, so if someone dials 911, a drone automatically flies to that area, gives them coverage around that area. I would like to present more on that to a public safety committee, hopefully in the near future. That is the future of police and fire in this nation. This is currently our organizational chart. You got the fire chief. Our organizational chart is the fire chief, 2 deputy chiefs, one's of administration, one's of operations, which is the largest department in the fire department. Those are the 216 men and women that you see out there each and every day. Those are the face of the organization, the face of the city. Operation is the largest department. We have 2 assistant chiefs. Assistant chief also is emergency manager. He's over our special operations team, and he's also handles our GIS department as well. And assistant chief over training, who handles the training, which we'll get more into training here in a second as well. What you see here is part of your senior command staff for High Point Fire Department. I'm the interim fire chief, like I said, it's an honor to do so. Deputy Chief Jason Valade, he's our operations chief. Like I said, he oversees the largest department in the fire department. Those are the 216 men and women that are out there on the streets every day. We do have a vacancy there as a deputy chief of administration. That was my previous role before I stepped up into the interim role, so that role is currently vacant at this time. Perry Hall, he is our assistant chief of training. He's also tasked with leadership development for the fire department. We do a great job in our training division of training new firefighters to become drivers, to become captains. Where I feel like we need to improve on is that officer development, and Perry Hall has been tasked to do that. Chief Foster, he serves as the city's emergency manager. He also oversees our critical resources department, which is IT, GIS, also our soon-to-be drone program. This is really one of those departments that's kind of the bread and butter of the fire service, the training division. The training division is solely responsible for training new incumbent firefighters to become certified as firefighters. Also, current firefighters to making sure that they're maintaining their state ISO hours. So each firefighter has to maintain 240 hours of training per year. That's just on the fire side. That's not including if you're a hazmat technician, those hours. That's not including if you're a technical rescuer, those hours. That doesn't include your EMT hours, which is 36 hours a year. So on average, a High Point firefighter will receive anywhere from 300 to 500 hours a year of continuous education training.
Chief, when going through ISO certification, I'm certain that those training documentations are something that ISO goes over in probably great detail when deciding whether or not to grant you certification.
Absolutely. So that's one of the key is training hours for ISO. They rate our 911 dispatch service, also rate the water quality of the city as well. So those are three areas that they really impact the ISO rating. And training and personnel is probably one of the most important. If the firefighter does not meet his training hours, then we will not be ISO certified. So our Fire Marshal Scott Roof oversees the fire prevention department. These men go out every day. They're making sure that the businesses that here in the city are maintaining what the state requires as a fire inspection. So currently in the city, there's about a little over 5,400 inspectable properties in the city. And of those 5,400 properties, the state designates how they should be inspected. So they're inspected either on a 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year basis. Now what's important for you all to know is out of those 5,400, little 5,400 properties, in the city of High Point, they are inspecting a little over 779 million square feet of inspectable properties. Residences are not included by the state unless someone calls it like a courtesy fire inspection. We do those also as well. Another critical resource that we have in the fire department is our fleet maintenance division. These men make sure the apparatus stays operational ready. There's 3 of them that are all emergency vehicle technicians that go through training to receive that certification. We have frontline about 20 rolling fleet. That's frontline apparatus. That's what you see responding every day. But total is we have about 120 pieces of apparatus in the fire department that they maintain, supervise, was anything from $1 million fire truck down to a $200 chainsaw or weed eater. We are truly self-sufficient in that way from our fleet maintenance division. Nothing really is outsourced in that division. Anything need repairs is handled in our fleet maintenance division. Our facility maintenance, Brandon Sermon, he's our facility maintenance technician. So he's kind of responsible for all the fire stations. We operate 24/7, so things break. He's responsible to getting those fixed. Angela Crotch, she's our logistics specialist. She is what we call our Costco, our Walmart, our Target. So when we need things, we reach out to Angela to get that to the firefighters. This slide here shows some of our fire stations. I'm going to highlight some of those here in a minute. If you look, we have 14 facilities. We have about 5 of those that were built in the 60s. So in the future, one area we're going to have to address is those stations were built for the fire service back then. Gang showers, gang bedrooms. So they're not gender neutral fire stations. So when out here recruiting females, it's kind of hard to bring a female in to say you have one gang shower for everyone. So that's an area that needs to be addressed in the future. Now you got to understand of where we are. This is kind of how we do this. So we have about 58 square miles of coverage that the firefighters respond to each day, and about 14 square miles is contracted. So if those don't know, we have a contracted area with Deep River Fire Department, which is also Guilford County, and also Pinecroft Sedgefield, which is in kind of southwest territory. The call volume you see is ever increasing, which is expected with the population. As population increase, call volume increase. The only one little nuance was in 2022 during COVID, those numbers did drop just a hair, but they did remain steady. This also kind of illustrates the call volume from 2005 up to 2029. These are projected call volumes that you're going to expect to see with the city as the population increases. Incident types. What are we responding to? So these charts here kind of show 100 is going to be fires. As you can see, the trend there for fires from 2016 to 2023 has kind of stayed somewhat steady. The area I'd like to focus on here is this special category, the 900 series. So as you can see, that's a tremendous jump from 2022 to 2023, and that's mainly because our dive team. We respond a lot to assist other agencies. And so Station 5, which houses the boat and the divers, and Station 7, so they are very active. We just received a call today from the state for a potential response here in the near future. We were also awarded a robot, an underwater robot for our dive team through a state grant that we received a few years ago. So we're very proud of that. One reason is safety. You might remember a few years ago, Sherrills Ford Fire Department lost a firefighter who was diving. So, and we kind of backed up, revamped our policies and procedures for diving. We kind of went through the state, received the grant for underwater robot. That robot dives down first. If it hits on the object, that's when we send a diver down to get it.
Chief Evans, yes, sir. When thinking about staffing and recruiting, what are the primary drivers? Is it trying to stay ahead of population growth, or is it also assessing the amount of call volumes and types that you get annually? Like what drives when you're out recruiting and you're looking at your numbers? What is the primary driver?
The primary driver is call volume mainly. So, and that's through NFPA and through studies. So that they have a certain metrics that they use when you should add personnel, when you should add another fire apparatus.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was a kind of a trigger number there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So anytime apparatus gets above 3,000, 4,000 calls a year, that's the trigger to, it's time to add another engine in that area. Okay. So you'll see that we're close to that now for Station 1, Station 2, Station 9's area.
Yeah, I was looking at that. That's why I asked the question. I was like, hey, it looks like we're getting pretty close to needing to make some adjustments.
So out of what we do, we ran the matrix to see, and this might be a question that everyone has, what is the busiest time of the day for a High Point fire? What is the busiest time of the day for fires? So you see in 2023, we ran what is the frequency of EMS calls within an hour of the day. Those calls happen most between 7 a.m. and midnight, with a peak between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So that's when we find out the most calls for service for 911 for a medical call. Fire calls is kind of shocking that we found in our metrics of data. The peak is between 4 PM and 5 PM, but majority of calls happen between 9 and 10 PM, so. We can also drill down into days a week. I didn't put that in this presentation.
So Chief, what are the most common causes of fires? I mean, is it kitchen-related fires, just kind of the?
Unattended cooking, unattended cooking. That's about the norm nationwide that you would see. And we have that a lot here in High Point and also with the senior population as well. Unattended cooking, or someone just forgets to turn the stove on. So our current staffing with the city of High Point, and I like to highlight on this, is we have 216 budgeted operation positions. Like I said, those are men and women who ride the truck every day. As far as administrative staff, there's 24 positions of administrative. That's for senior command staff, training division, and those fleet maintenance and logistics folks. The impact that we have received probably since 1995, in that area between 1995 and 2000, we hired about 20% of the fire department's total staffing during those years. And if you do the math, that come up on those retirement years. So that's going to be an impact now in the future. And for the past 5 years, 6 years, we've had roughly 30 members leave the department for unknown reasons. We have some due to retirements. Some COVID kind of changed the mindset of firefighters. The ones who left, who just got completely out of the fire service. But we're tackling that daily. I'm proud to say that as of today, we have one current vacancy on High Point Fire. We just hired, went through a group last week, so we hired 13 last week, but that does not include what's coming up in January. So in January, February, March, we're probably gonna have that number go up to about 12 to 20 again. So.
For those of you listening, Councilman Tyrone Johnson has joined us.
And some may want to know why it takes so long to become a firefighter. You can see in this diagram here, from the application process to become a certified firefighter, takes about almost a year. From the applicant process, from the time I actually go online, fill out the application in NeoGov, till you have the physical agility testing, TABE testing, which is it's a test for adult basic education. We require all members to take that. Interview, polygraph, conditional job offer, pre-employment, that just gets you in the training academy. From the day you walk into the training academy, you have about 6 months in the training academy. After that, you have EMT academy, which lasts anywhere from 2 to 3 months. And if we teach technical rescue during training, that adds more months to it. So it takes about a year, even though the vacancies may seem, right now we're looking great with only one, but in the future it may probably see 12 to 15 vacancies. I'm proud to say that I think we're on the right metrics as far as looking for folks. Our recruit team is out there every day trying to recruit individuals. So we will see a slight increase in the first quarter of next year.
Chief, your current staff, in terms of demographics and where they're from, can you give us kind of an overview of where they're coming from? Are they local? Are they coming from outside of the county or the city?
About 98% are somewhat local within, I say, state of North Carolina. We've had this class we just hired. We had some come from Colorado, 2 from Florida. In NeoGov right now, there's about 100 initial applicants in there. I think the furthest is like Texas that we've seen. So a lot of this comes from like military transition as well. So what do the firefighters do when they're not riding calls, not training? So this next slide you'll see, we do a lot that's really not really seen out there by the public eye. We currently have about 72,000 feet of hose. That's something that's ISO requires. Are you testing your fire hose? Are you testing your hydrants? So we have 72,000 feet of fire hose that you see that has to be tested annually. The city's 8,119 fire hydrants in the city. We have to test those annually. Also, we have numerous feet of bladders on these apparatus, and they have to be tested annually as well. And one thing that's most important, it also goes into ISO, is you'll see the crews are out every day doing what they call pre-incident planning. So they're planning for incidents. And that also helps the fire, so they look at that as part of your community risk reduction and the number of touches that you get every year. And ISO currently, according to community risk reduction, they want you to touch every business every year with some type of pre-plan, whether that's the actual drawing itself or updating the current plans that you have. These are some of the highlights we've seen over the years, High Point Fire Department. We applied for the AFG grant in 2015. We did receive that to buy air packs. That was like over $1 million, with High Point University provided the match for that. We have applied for the SAFER grant. SAFER is staffing for adequate fire emergency response. We have applied for that in 2022. You all are familiar with our apparatus replacement plan. That comes across council quite frequently. What that does, that keeps us with the most up-to-date apparatus and safe apparatus that the men and women ride every day. The Fireworks RMS is probably one I'm most proud of because we are really a data-driven department now. So Fireworks provides the metrics and the way of getting that out to putting it on paper so we can kind of qualify and quantify what we're doing on a day-to-day basis out here in the city. And it also provides good numbers for our individuals as well, our firefighters. At this time, I'm open for any questions pertaining to the fire service.
Thank you, Chief Evans. We'll open up the council.
Yes, Councilman Andrew, I'll answer my first question, ISO, because I was thinking International Organization Standardization, like quality management, but it's International Services Office, so that's good.
Insurance service office.
Right, insurance service office, yeah. So I was confused, I'm like, why are they doing TQL stuff? But anyway, you mentioned fleet maintenance, so the fire department has maintainers for their rolling stock.
Correct.
We also have maintainers for the police department's rolling stock. Are we overlapping? Is there an opportunity for consolidation? Is it we being redundant? I'm a maintenance officer by trade. I'm trying to think of, do we need to have two separate sets of maintainers? Just throwing it out there.
So lots of research is done on that. Most recently was Greenville County, South Carolina. They came here to look at our model. What they found out by not having them separated is they had one public service fleet maintenance facility. So nothing against other departments, but if a fire truck breaks down, you're number 15 in line because 14 are ahead of you. So having your own, we can go in and tackle those problems to get that unit back in service on the street.
Okay. Not an immediate, but I'm interested in the volume of your maintainers and your maintenance process, and I'd like to compare it to the police department just for my knowledge.
So with fire apparatus, and we currently purchase Pierce fire trucks, so they have an A service and a B service. So each fire truck is serviced twice a year. A service is your typical oil change. B service, because of suspension and the weight of those vehicles, they have to go in, but they have a tack force suspension. So the tolerances have to be within the thousands when they measure, else they have to replace the bearings in those axles. That's part of the B service. DEF is also looked at, the DEF headers and on these apparatus, that's part of the B service. So we have an A service and a B service on all apparatus in fire trucks.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Evans?
Folks, does the city get reimbursed when you send a dive team out to another jurisdiction, or is that just being neighborly, to help somebody else out and there's no kind of?
So we have mutual aid agreements with everyone we go to, so there's really not a charge for that. If we need a service from Stokes County or somewhere like that, they come in and kind of reciprocate. A lot of times that happens when we have multiple alarm fires. So we're really about a 2-alarm, 3-alarm fire department, which means that after the 3rd alarm, we have to require on outside agencies to come provide services for the city. So that's when we reach out to the Greensboros, the Winstons, the Stokes, Hasty, Hornytown, those individuals.
Any other questions for Chief Evans? If not, Chief, I just want to say, to you and your team. I think the city as a whole is indebted to the work that you all do, the sacrifices your team makes, and the risks that you all take to serve our community. And we're honored and thank you for being a good leader and a great representative of City of High Point.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Next item up, we have 2024-298. It's a customer service overview, and we've got Jeremy Coble, Customer Service Director.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First, let me say it's an honor and pleasure to be here. Hard act to follow. Chief Evans in the fire department, I would say they're one of the best in the country from what I know about them, so kudos to them again. As was mentioned, my name is Jeremy Coble. I'm the Director of Customer Service. I would also like to make mention of LaDawn Pearson in the back of the room. She is the Assistant Director of Customer Service, and I could not do it without her. She is my yin to my yang, or vice versa. So, who's customer service? Well, here's us in a nutshell. We're a passionate group, and you can tell, we love this city. We've got a lot of energy, and we try to bring that to our customers, and we try to bring it to all of you. So, who is customer service? I was recently given a similar presentation to this to one of our new HR representatives, and they said, I don't think this name works for your department. You do so many things. It doesn't seem like you're just customer service. So perhaps this group can help me come up with a better descriptive name for our group as well as we go through this. So, start off with some basic facts. Our total budget is approximately $6.8 million a year. We have 61 staff members. Of that staff, and as you'll see here shortly, about half of those folks are what we call inside. They're in the office doing various tasks. Half of those folks are outside in the field doing various tasks. Our general daily operating hours are 7:30 to 5:30. And we also have after-hour staff that work 24/7, 365. That's one of those nuanced things that many don't know. Here are kind of our core functions, and we're going to touch on all of these as we go through. First, let's talk about water meter services. Most folks are unaware that customer service actually handles the water meters for the city of High Point. So what does that mean? So you've probably already met with Public Services that handles our water distribution network. They handle all of that. Once it gets to the meter, and the meter is at our customer's location, whether that be someone's home or business, we do the installation, we do the maintenance, we do the repairs, and we do replacement. So there's about 46,000 of those that exist in the city. There are always needed to be changed out, replaced, fixed, and we'll talk about a little later as time advances, we're getting smarter. The computer next to the water meter is not just a joke. We are really there as we are engaging into the future here. These are our actual meters that if you live in the city of High Point, this is what you have most likely at your home, is this here. Antoine up here, he's doing a meter test for one of our corporate clients here, ensuring that our meters meet the standards that their business requires. And please stop me and ask any questions that I go through. Meter reading. We read over 1 million meters annually. How does that work? Well, we've got about 46,000 water meters. We got approximately 46,000 electric meters. We read all of those twice a month. So it's a lot of reading, and that's how your utility bills go out. On the screen here, we actually have a representation of 3 timelines of meter reading. So here, got Scott, and he is reading with what we call a wand, and this is how it was traditionally done and how you may think about people coming around to your house, walking through your yard, reading your meter, and we still have a very few handful of these left in the city, so you may see one of our gentlemen out with one of these wands here. But this is kind of a very antiquated way of doing this, and we're moving past this, and we'll touch on that. This is how we read things currently, is with this device here. These are radio devices where you can walk and or ride around depending on the scenario, and you can, from your water meter and electric meter, actually sends a radio signal out, and this computer picks that up, and then we upload it into our billing software. I will tell you that both this piece of equipment and this piece of equipment, they do not make anymore. And it is all migrating to here. And I'm going to save that for a little bit later, but many of you have probably heard the acronym AMI, or Advanced Metering Infrastructure, and so we'll touch on that. That's kind of the teaser for that. But this is how we do it currently. Utility billing and collection. We have about 200 million annually that flow through customer service. This is based on utility bills, mostly water, electric, sewer, trash, all that good stuff. That's approximately half the city's budget, if I'm not mistaken. We have a little over 46,000 accounts that we manage. We send over 60,000 bills and reminders monthly. Approximately half of those bills are electronic. That has been a push of ours. We're very proud of that because it greatly reduces the cost to the city and ensures that it gets to the customer. We have about 1,700 people a month that walk into City Hall that ask for assistance outside of paying their bill. We have a lot of walk-ins that pay, but others need assistance. Maybe they're starting service, transferring service, need trash pickup, need an extension on their bill, things of that nature.
Jeremy, if someone's getting paper bills, they would just have to go online and opt into paperless?
Yes, sir. And we have some new avenues that I'll touch on as well that I hope will be better than what we, both electronic and currently that we have now. Our contact center. This is what most folks think about when they think about customer service, is a contact center or a call center. We take about 250,000 calls annually. That's over 20,000 a month. We take a lot of calls, and our wait times are less than 60 seconds. That is extremely, extremely impressive, and I'm very proud to say that. The majority of our calls are in regards to utility bills, whether that be what's my due date, how much do I owe, can I get an extension, things of that nature. They may want to establish city services. I'm moving to a new location, I'm moving to the city, I need another trash toter, all that fun stuff. Then right now we deal with power outages as well. If you have a power outage, you call us, and that's how that gets notified. And honestly, we get all kinds of calls. If you listen in on some of our calls, people ask anything and everything, much of which have nothing to do with the city. But if, you know, the way we look at this is if you're brand new to North Carolina, you move into town, you don't know anything. And so we are very often maybe your only point of contact with the city of High Point. You call, you get your utility account set up, you get your trash set up, your bills start coming, and a lot of times they ask questions. Hey, do you know who do I call to get gas, natural gas? Do you know who the cable provider is? Our customer service agents assist with this all day. We even have some areas on our website that drive traffic to other entities around the city. We really are trying to be the connection point for all the services that the city has, not just the ones the city of High Point provides. Field services. We have about 25,000 annually, so we got about 25,000 people moving in or moving out annually. Now, that doesn't mean these people are moving in or out of the city. Very often, they're just moving within the city, so I did want to make that clarification. And we have same-day service. If you call us before 3 p.m. and say, hey, I want to move in to 123 Main Street, you're in. We've got you there. Non-pay enforcement. This is the not so nice side of our business. We are in the unfortunate position to discontinue utility service if bills have not been paid. I will tell you, this is some of the most difficult part of our job. And I know both Ladon and I have gone out and experienced this on multiple occasions to get a better understanding of this, but it is really balancing fiscal stewardship of the city and empathy for our customers, and it is not easily done. Some customers just avoid pain, but some customers are dealing with financial issues, hardships, medical issues, etc. We do our absolute best to work with folks and be empathetic while simultaneously keeping the city's interest in mind and trying to treat folks as fairly and equitably as we can. And that's a difficult job, and I definitely wanted to point that out. I think that's, I know it weighs on all of us some days. You know, some days we really want to help someone, and it's not always possible.
That seems like a high number. I mean, there's 46,000 connections, that's like a third. I mean, that seems, and I know, it may be the same people who moved around or whatever, so it's not necessarily 60,000 households.
Excuse me, are we talking about this bullet here?
No, the non-paid.
The non-paid, yeah, it is a lot. The stats show, and we have really tried to come up with ideas. The stats show that it's generally the same people. It's not 16,000 individual customers. It's generally about 4,000 to 5,000 that find themselves in a similar situation. I don't know that I have the answer for that. We definitely strive to make things better. I will touch on something in a little bit that I am very hopeful is going to help, I won't say with this issue, but will help with this particular data point. I think it's going to make a big difference.
And that number, over 16,000 annually.
Yes, sir.
That could be, I don't know, they got it cut off for one day.
Very often it's cut off for a very short period of time.
Okay.
Less than a 24-hour time period. One of the other, maybe not so ideal things we deal with is tampering enforcement. So what's tampering? That is someone illegally obtaining water and or electricity. And you're probably thinking, well, how the heck do you obtain electricity illegally? So let's show a little picture here. These are some of our service field officers. They are installing meters. They're electric meters. This is a little water meter. This might be a little difficult to see, but you may see some wires. This is a meter box. See some wires sticking out? That is where someone tampered. Those are called jumper wires. So they removed the meter, or perhaps we removed the meter for one reason or another, and they took wires and made that connection back so the power could continue to flow through their house. I will tell you, this is extremely, extremely dangerous. I do not encourage this at all, and we want to curtail this as much as possible. There is a fee associated with tampering, and the first offense is a misdemeanor, and the second offense is actually considered a Class H felony according to North Carolina. And that goes for water and electricity. Certainly water does not have the danger associated that electricity does, but this is not just a common problem for High Point. This is a common problem everywhere. Rock Hill, South Carolina is kind of a sister city in our AMI project that we'll touch on in a minute, and they are very, very similar in many ways, and they have one person solely dedicated to handling tampering 24/7 because it's really an issue out there.
So how do you detect that? Is that physically seeing the thing, or can you tell by the usage that something seems?
That's such a great question. Right now, we're running blind. Right now, we get lucky. Our technicians are trained as they're out there in the field, working in neighborhoods to look at your surroundings, look around, see if something doesn't look right, and they're generally detected by just someone finding out. Because without that meter there, we're not registering any kilowatt hours, and so we don't know that any's being used. And future state will actually receive alarm electronically as soon as someone pulls that meter out to tamper with it, and we'll know within minutes that that exists, and will make things much better for us. Electric dispatch. So I mentioned earlier, we have staff on call 24/7, 365. Electric dispatch handles all non-911 emergency calls outside of normal business hours. Now, we have someone on staff 365, but when 5:30 closes, or it's the weekend, and unless you're calling 911 for a medical emergency or something of that nature, then you might speak with electric dispatch. Generally, they're handling power outages or sewer overflows, especially on after hours. But they monitor the electric grid. They're the ones that would call in the electric department or the water department if something major happened. If a storm comes through and we have major outages, they are certainly on deck for that. These are some unsung heroes. They certainly don't get enough credit for everything they do because this is a very small group and their responsibility is huge. Our first shift dispatch is actually housed here in City Hall, and our second and third shift dispatch, they're actually housed in our police department from the floor below 911 there for security purposes, so they're safe while they're doing their job. Here's a picture of our electric dispatch. I will tell you, these folks are kind of glued to their chair. They have to take a walkie-talkie even to the restroom because you never know when something might happen. And they have the electric department on the other end of that radio, and they close and open circuits, and people's lives are in their hands. And so, again, unsung heroes, and give a lot of credit to these ladies and gentlemen here. Showroom tax collection. This is a little nuanced area that customer service handles that many are unaware of. We collect approximately 1.7 million in showroom tax. The showroom tax is all our beautiful showrooms here. We charge them 15 cents per square foot of showroom space. We have 162 of those customers. This is a manual process. We have a great relationship with the showrooms themselves, a great relationship with the High Point Market. And these funds are then generated to help produce the High Point Market. And it's a really good relationship, I think, we have amongst everybody. And it's not hard to collect this tax. Prior to coming to the city of High Point, I worked for the North Carolina Department of Revenue for many years. And I did a multitude of things there. And part of my time was tax collection. It was much harder there than it is here. Our showrooms are here to work with us. They truly are. They directly see the benefit of these dollars. And it couldn't be a better relationship, it really is. All right, where are we going? So I told you who we are. Now where's customer service at? AMI. Advanced metering infrastructure. I imagine the water department and or the electric department may have touched on this a little bit already. So I'm looking at this, trying to simplify AMI because it's a very big topic. I look at it from going from reactive to proactive. You asked a great question earlier. You said, well, how do you know if somebody's tampering? Well, the same reason we know if somebody's got a leak, or if their power's out, or if they have any issues with their utility. We really don't unless they tell us. And so we have to, kind of scramble on the back end to get those things fixed. AMI is going to change all that to be proactive. We'll know when someone tampers. We'll know when your power's out before you know your power's out. The meter readers that you saw going out and about, well, those will be coming through on the computer, and those guys won't have to go out near to the extent that they go out now. The remote disconnects, going out and pulling those meters out for non-pay, that can be handled at the office now. Instead of going out, I will tell you that's something I'm very excited about. Our guys get threatened a lot. They do. It's not uncommon for us to have to invoke law enforcement to assist. We get dogs turned out on us, you name it. So it is a dangerous, just working with electricity is dangerous, not to mention the people aspect of this. And so that is something I'm looking forward to. So let's talk about the increased information that AMI is going to provide. It's about 9 million and change data points every day in AMI. Because we will read most electric meters every hour, most water meters every hour, and our commercial electric meters we will read every 15 minutes. And so tons of data points are coming in. As many of you may know, we are a member of Electricities, and Electricities does a survey across its footprint here. And one of the number one things that came out of it was portal. Everybody wants a customer portal. What is a customer portal to start with? Where you can see your bill, where you can see your usage, where you can see information on how to reduce your usage, other analysis, etc. If anybody maybe has another utility or has had one like Duke or something, you may see this technology already existing there. It's finally coming down to a price point to the smaller utilities. And so we are giving our customers what they want. And we're going to have on the back end, it's the company's Silver Blaze. It's a Harris product. It will be branded with the city of High Point, but this is a real life scenario here. Here is, for example, they want to look at their usage this year versus last year. This is a very, very common question. I don't think my electricity was this high last June. You look and it was, you know. So that's going to be huge because our customers will be able to geek out, for lack of a better term. They'll be able to dive into this data. They can download this into CSV files. They can really go in depth. So that's for our general customer. Let's talk about our corporate customers. And we are a city that has done a fantastic job of attracting industry, and we want to do our part on that from customer service. And modern manufacturing and other businesses need this data. I've talked to several of, I won't call them business owners, but managers of these places, and this is what they're looking for. So they will have the ability to get access to that data on their own. We will have some back-end software that can provide them even further in-depth analysis, going down to the engineering rabbit hole that is above my pay grade, we'll say that. So we're really excited about the level of information we're going to provide people, because right now, really all they have is their bill. You know, that they've got the kilowatt hours and they've got the hundreds of cubic feet, but outside of that, they don't have a lot else. And so this is going to be really amazing for them.
Are there any plans to sort of engage the public with how you can sort of track your own stuff? And if since it went up on the water and sewer, you can say, well, I can reduce my water and sewer by 5%.
I'm so glad you asked that question. With the help of this fine gentleman right here and his staff, a lot of that content is actually already created. So we are working with a company called eSource to help implement AMI here because it's such a huge task. And they've done this in a lot of other cities across the country and the world, frankly. And so with their help, we've created a lot of content already. We will be going out to the public, letting them know that we're going to be changing out meters. We're going to let them know about the portal. We're going to let them know right now, the e-bill options are going to change. How you pay online now will be integrated into this portal. There's a partnership there. So there'll be a lot of information coming out on how they adopt this portal and it becomes part of their lifestyle. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Communications. Piggybacking on the Electricity's survey again. People want text messages. They don't want letters in the mail. I'm not even sure they want emails anymore, but everybody wants a text message. On Friday afternoon, spoke to a very nice young lady, and she had unfortunately been cut off due to non-payment. And, she's had issues with the mail. And I said, while we're talking, I said, what, if I may ask, what would be conducive for you? And she said, why can't I get a text message? Well, hold tight, we're headed that way. So we are currently working on getting that stood up now. That some of this may come out even prior to AMI, but we will have text messages for outages. Instead of, again, us waiting for you to call us and tell us your power is out, we're going to let you know, hey, your power is out. We hope to get you restored as soon as possible. Balance and due date inquiries is our #1 call reason, believe it or not. We get more calls about that than anything. And so as part of this plan, you're going to be able to just text and it'll give you your balance and due date. That way, if you didn't want to speak to a CSR, it'd make that more convenient. Water leaks. Last week must have been, the moon was right, there was water leaks everywhere. Any other council members ever heard about water leaks somewhere? So they're common, they truly are. This is another one of those things where we're on the reactive end, all of us on the reactive end, including the customer. We don't know that we have a leak generally until we get this enormously high bill and we're in panic mode. So what does AMI do for us? This is one of the things I'm most excited about, is we will implement communications via text if possible, and then we'll go to snail mail and email if needed. But if you have what we're going to call continuous consumption, because we don't know if you have a leak or not necessarily. If your water's running in your house for 3 days straight, we're going to let you know, because that's not normal for your water to run in your house for 3 days straight. And we'll be able to get a little bit smart with this in that we've got industries that run water all day long, and we'll be able to bifurcate those out. But if we have residents and their water's running for a period of time, and we'll build, establish that to where we want, then we're gonna communicate to you, hey, you've got continuous consumption for 36 hours. This may be something you want to look into. And this is on the front end, so this prevents that big bill from coming, which is huge. That's going to be huge. This saves money for our customers. This saves money for the city because we do sewer reimbursements for water that is leaked not into our sewer system. Let's say it goes into the ground. So we have to reimburse those monies, which is time and money. Not to mention, water is a valuable resource and becoming more valuable every day. And we just want to be good stewards of our environmental resources here. Payment methods. We talked about cutoff for non-pays. Well, luckily, I didn't have to figure out the solution to this. Some other utilities already have. Once you have AMI, and you do have to have AMI in place because you need those hourly reads that I was talking about, you can implement what they call prepay. So what is prepay utilities? Kind of sounds weird. It's really just like your car. You put in however much you want. And what this does is it's more conducive to people's income streams. A singular bill each month may or may not fit our customers' income streams, especially in today's times. So this allows someone, I think there's a minimum amount, you got to put more than $2 on there or something to that level. But if you want to pay $100 today and next week pay another 100, whatever that looks like, it puts the power in your hands. And so let's talk about the cutoff scenario. So, all right, I've gotten behind, I've been cut off. Well, now a technician has to manage that. So if it's on the nights or the weekends, which we don't cut on nights and weekends, but if someone came home from vacation or something, we will send staff out, but of course that's after hours and all that. In the future, when you pay your bill, the system will recognize the bill is paid and then cut your services back on, if it's electric, that is. We're really hopeful that this is going to be popular with our customers. Every other utility I have spoken to loves this. And there are options for folks to walk into Walmart and put cash on this app. It's an application that you would have. The reason you need the hourly intervals is it will say, hey, looking at your usage, it looks like you got about 10 days left. You got 5 days left, 2 days left, 3 hours left. It really gives you a lot of notification. That way you can try to help avoid that disconnection.
Do they pay the same rate? I'm on this.
At the exact same rate, absolutely.
They don't do that in the UK.
Yeah.
You ship people.
Now, one thing that is fiscally beneficial is it does avoid the down payment, which is sometimes difficult for our customer base.
Exactly, yeah.
So that would supersede that. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the other side of this coin. We have 2 walk-in locations for payments. We have City Hall and we have our North Point location. Here are actually the walk-in numbers. These are actual payments made annually. You can quickly see that this is trending downward. Certainly COVID had an impact, but it is not the sole impact of this. These are one of the things where we think about, do we want to change our resources? Maybe we don't offer the North Point office and put those resources towards electronic usage. Again, these are ideas that, we're just having out loud and of course, having those discussions with all parties. But did want to throw that out there. We're looking to be more modern as that is what our customers are really looking for. But not to say that we're going to leave anybody behind, because we know we still have a very large population of people that love come walking in and seeing us every month and giving us our payment, and we will happily accept that. We like seeing them. Continuous improvement. I touched on AMI, but what that is doing is having a huge organizational change within customer service. A lot of the jobs that we have are becoming more technical based on all this increased data and analytics. So where some folks used to work outside, they may work inside. And we're upskilling some of those staffs, and frankly, some of those staff are already there. We really are blessed to have a great staff here. But there are changes happening to our department, and not just our department, across the city. we will get a lot of it right, but we won't get all of it right. And we're gonna stay flexible, we're gonna stay agile, and as if things come up, we're going to continuously change and improve. Our customer base today is not the same customer base we had 20 years ago, and it won't be the same we have 20 years from now. And so we've got to stay agile with that. I felt like I ran through that, but I'll open up the floor for questions.
Fantastic. Jeremy, thank you. Any questions for Jeremy this time?
Do you expect sort of any staffing level changes with AMI and things being sort of automated, or you have other demands on the other side that you didn't have because you're out there physically doing it?
Yeah, you'll have other demands on the other side. I will tell you that is one mistake that some utilities made that we did a lot of research on. I guess that's a good thing about not going first is some utilities ended up cutting staff. They ended up going back and hiring new ones. And so we are really migrating our staff from X skill to Y skill to keep it here. Yeah.
I have a question, Jeremy.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think the timeline is for full implementation of AMI plus that texting service?
Great question. So the full implementation of AMI, we will have our IDA or initial deployment area this fall, kind of late fall, and we'll test a 500 customer base. We don't expect any issues, but we're going to do our due diligence and run through multiple billing cycles to ensure everything works as it is supposed to. We have contracted with a meter installation vendor, or MIV, you may hear it referred to, and they plan to come in April, May-ish, and they will start installing/replacing all these electric meters, which are about 45,000 of them. So there's a lot of work to do there. So that's going to push the end implementation to probably about 26 once all those meters are set and live. The text messaging should be up much more before that. I would love to have that out maybe close to the beginning of the year, if not late this year. We're kind of already working on some of that back-end integration now. While we won't have the water loss and all that fun stuff set up, we will have some of it set up, and we can start testing with that. I would say that's a pretty good timeline there. Yeah.
Any other questions for Jeremy or customer service, our customer service staff? Well, once again, Jeremy, we want to thank you and your department for all you do. You're really the voice of the city as folks call in. You help them get to where they need to go, and so you put a great face and a voice to how we serve our community. So thank you very much, and to all your staff.
Thank you.
Well, that was it for our manager's briefing today. Madam Manager, any additional items that you would like to cover today, Madam Attorney, before we adjourn?
No additional items. I just want to note for the regular council meeting, you see there is a number of planning items that we have that are on this agenda, which has been a little bit rare since we had our legislative changes. So we just have a bit of a break between the meetings today.
Okay, great. All right, well, if you know the items, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second, from the two made.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.